Hello and welcome. So this is about the attack the vulnerable point in chess. Okay, so uh, we earlier saw about the vulnerable point. So and I mentioned the algorithms are really good in attacking the vulnerable point. Okay, so vulnerable point is mainly based on the weakness, like pawn weakness. If they get pawn weakness, then the position becomes vulnerable, or sometimes the pieces are not developed, or if a piece is not protecting the important squares on the king side, then the king becomes vulnerable. Okay, so all this I can basically show it practically. Okay, because certain things I can show, it will be more easier to understand. So you can see this game. So d4, knight f6. So black plays knight f6, white plays c4, and black goes pawn to e6. So knight f3. Okay, so here pawn to d5. So pawn takes. Now usually the bishop goes to f4 or g5, and then white locks the pawn chain. But here e3 was played. Okay, e3. This piece is not having good mobility. Okay, so it's not participating in the game. So black takes a chance. Black never plays bishop e7. Black plays bishop d6. This is more stronger because this bishop can join the attack. Okay, so this bishop is not on this side. So in opening, you can see slightly this king side becomes more vulnerable because we can use something on their king side, and they are not really able to defend. I mean, this bishop is not participating in the king side defense. Okay, so it gives a slight edge for black. So now bishop d3. Okay, we can go castle. So they go castle. Okay, this bishop is very powerful. So one way to neutralize this bishop can go here and come there to neutralize this. So this is one traditional idea. So bishop goes to g4. Okay, now white plays h3 attack, so we can maintain the pin by playing bishop to h5 because bishop coming to g6 later is part of our plan here. Okay, so they went queen to b3, so this is an important moment. Okay, so you can see b7 is under attack. Okay, because this bishop is not there, so b7 is under attack. But white is also allowing to ruin the pawn chain. Okay, so we'll see what happens if we capture the knight. If we capture the knight, you can see a lot of squares around the king side and the center will get weakened. So we can take on f3. If they take gf3, it's okay. They have the weak pawns here. The pawns are split and it's very vulnerable. We can attack it. Okay, let's see what really happens if they capture on b7. Okay, now how should black continue? You can think for a moment and come up with a very strong plan. So should we go knight d7 and protect the rook, or any other moves? Okay, so since the king side piece is absent for them, like after bishop f3 there's no knight, so you can see like a lot of squares around the king gets weak. So king position is more vulnerable now. So what we can do, we need to add more pieces on that side, increase the force to attack. So the strongest continuation is knight to e4, ignoring the attack on a8. Okay, so now we have more attackers on the king side. There are so many attackers, you see. So taking on e8 will not help white because we can force a mate. We can go queen g5. So they have to play g3, g3 or g4. Anyway, we are going to sacrifice. So see, we can open the position. And the attack was so strong here. You can see. White is unable to defend the attack. So attack is very strong. So knight e4. So knight e4. Okay, if they take with the bishop, we can take with the pawn. And if they take on a8, still it's going to be the same. The queen can go to g5. And then if they move, we can just take. And the attack is so powerful here. So we can force a mate here. So king side becomes very vulnerable. Okay. So after knight e4, also queen takes d5 is not possible because we have this. Right. A discovered attack, which is very easy, not difficult to spot. So they take, we can take on d5. Okay, so knight e4. Knight e4 is too strong. So let's say they take g takes f3, an intermediate move before taking the rook. Okay, now you can see the pawns are split and the king side is open. Okay, so once the pawn chain is broken, there is an entry spot here to reach the king. Okay, so king side is more vulnerable now. So what we can do, we can go queen g5, king h1, and we can target these pawns. These pawns are very weak. So we can go queen h5, giving a double attack. So they are not able to defend the king. So it's very vulnerable now. The king is very vulnerable because they have weak pawns here. And if they try to defend, it's easy to shift the knight. So knight can go here. And then we have threats like queen takes, knight coming to f3. So the game is over. So queen g5, check, king h1 and queen h5. Now let's say they play f4. Finally, they try to block this diagonal. Okay, so anyway, we can take on h3. King is weak. King has to go to g1. And now, since the king is open, we need to attack. So rook e8 is a very good move. We can ignore this attack. And we are planning a rook lift. Even if they take on e8, we can push the king to the corner and then get the rook lift here. So the rook is going to h6. And there's no need to worry about the back rank because the bishop can always go to f8. Even if they take this, we have defense. Bishop f8. So very strong. So rook h6 is coming. So here let's say they take queen d5. Queen d5 also, we can push the king to the corner. So queen g4 check, king h2, and the h file is very weak, so a rook left. So that decides the game. Okay, so we can see like the pawn chain was broken, it got weaker, and the king became very vulnerable. Okay, so there are a lot of examples. We can see more about this in the upcoming lessons. Thank you.